What are your dominant clair psychic abilities? Stay tuned to find out. Hey guys, it's Tarot and Beyond, and today's reading was inspired by one of the members' questions on the members only live stream this month. So it was a question about dominant clairs. What are my dominant clairs and how can I work with those better? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you're not aware of what clairs are, stay tuned because right after this intro, I'm going to talk a little bit about those and then you can jump into your readings. If you already know what the clairs are, feel free to select a card and jump ahead to your reading using the timestamps in the description box or the chapter notes below. So what are clairs? Well, clairs are essentially our senses heightened. So most people associate psychic abilities with clairvoyance, but that's actually only one of the psychic abilities. And they are heightened aspects of our physical five senses. So clairvoyance is a heightened inner sight, being able to visualize, imagine, and receive intuitive or psychic information through that internal sight. Being able to see clairvoyantly is very visual. We also have claircognizance, which I would classify as the technical sixth sense because it is not directly associated with the other five senses. Claircognizance is connected to the crown chakra, which is at the top of your head, and this is what allows you to receive downloads of information. Now, these downloads of information are not necessarily coming through in a visual or auditory or physical sense. They are just big chunks of information, like having a file transferred to your computer or to your phone, and you have to kind of open it up and poke around in there to understand what's in it. But even without opening the file, if the file is in your computer, i.e. you've received the energetic download through the crown chakra, you will have this sense of knowing, and that's essentially what claircognizance presents as. Then we have clairaudience, which is connected to the throat chakra and is about auditory extrasensory abilities. So this is being able to hear, sometimes verbally, sometimes pitch changes, sometimes frequencies of different kinds, or even through music. So being able to hear and channel information through the ears and also through the voice, being able to channel verbally, being able to channel in a scripted format, i.e. writing things down, those are all connected to clairaudience. Then we have clairalience, which is really interesting, and this is a clear sense of smell. So a psychic ability connected to smelling is a little bit more rare, but it is available and it is possible to activate this. Now, clairalience is being able to smell things that are not there. So for example, being a medium and connecting to other people on the other side, sometimes what can happen is you can start to smell what they smelled like. So if they smoked cigars, you might smell cigars. If they wore a certain perfume, you might smell that perfume. You might smell flowers, even though there's no flowers around, things like that. So being able to sense at that higher level and receive that information through the nose is very interesting, and that's one that we can all have access to, along with all the rest, which we'll talk about more in the readings. Next, we have clairgustance, which is the clear ability to taste. This is an interesting one as well. It's not as well known, but again, same thing as clairalience, but with taste. So being able to taste things in your mouth that are not there. So for example, I taste something sweet. I taste candy. What does that mean? What is that psychic information trying to tell me? What am I tapping into? That is something to be aware of as well. Again, it's not as well known, but it is available because it is part of these heightened psychic physical senses. Then we have clairsentience. This is a really big one that I think a lot of people have, and maybe sometimes they don't think of it as a psychic ability, but it is. Clairsentience is when you can feel physically in the body extrasensory information. So this can sometimes present through the emotional realm, being able to feel other people's emotions, being able to feel emotions or energy within a reading even, or being able to sense energy moving through the body. Sometimes this will present as a rushing sensation, a tingle, pressure, heat, cold, zapping feelings, prickles. It really just depends, but paying attention to the physical senses is a really good way to start working with clairsentience. So there you have it. Those are the 5, well, technically 6 clairs including claircognizance. And now let's dive into what yours are. All right, hello group number 1. You guys chose this particular high priestess. So we're going to find out what your clairs are, how to work with your clairs, and if any of them are blocked, and if so, how to clear them. So this particular high priestess is holding a book and a crystal ball. She's got the book on her lap and the crystal ball in her hand. So I feel like clairvoyance is going to be part of yours, but I don't want to get ahead of myself and start assuming things. So let's take a look into your cards. Now, before we jump in, I also want to mention that if you're not familiar with the clairs, I would check out the little synopsis that I created in this reading, which is just after the intro. It will be in the timestamps below. But if you are familiar with the clairs, I also wanted to mention that we all have all of them. The only reason that sometimes people identify more with one over the other is that we can tend to have ones that we are stronger at, but technically we all have all of them. So what we're going to do today is just find out which ones you are stronger at, or which ones are developing right now, and how to help those along. So we're going to start out with the Heavenly Bodies astrology deck, and then we're going to go into some other cards and your main deck for some information. You have the Sun, self-express and embody truth. I'm feeling like clairaudience is also part of this because the truth really just stuck out to me there. It feels like you know what? Actually, no, let me change that, because truth is the gift of clairvoyance. So the third eye chakra is related to the gift of clairvoyance, and it is concerned with truth, divine truth. And this is how we are able to perceive visually what is beyond the veil, or what is beyond the physical senses. So there's something about that that really wants to be known here. Let's take a look. We get a Cosmic Creatures card as well. There's 4 there. They said take all 4. Okay, I was going to get 1. That's a lot. Let's see. You have the Rabbit. Quick thinking, I just heard. Yeah, quick thinking. So the mind is very astute. That's right off the bat. That's what I was getting from the book and the crystal ball. And the Hummingbird, again, fast, very fast mind, very fast mental processing. The Fly. You know, this could also be claircognizance, because I'm feeling a lot up in the crown chakra and in the third eye. I think it's both. Yeah, it's both. And the Bat with sonar. And okay, so we actually have 3 dominants for you, group number 1, because I was feeling the throat chakra, which is clairaudience, and the Bat uses sonar frequencies that they make through their throat. You know, they make that clicking noise or whatever it is, and then it sends out that frequency which bounces back, and then they can feel into that and see their way. But also I think clairvoyance is your dominant. Yes, it is. Clairvoyance is your dominant, because they see through sound. Yes, and we keep having all of these things about fast mind, fast mental processing, being able to see the truth, embodying truth, self-expressing. Yeah, embodying and self-expressing truth is the throat chakra too. Yeah, you have all 3. You have all 3. We all have all of them, like I said, but these 3 seem to be really dominant. So actually, wait, before we get into that, they want me to get one of these cards. I forgot. Thank you, Spirit, for reminding me for group number 1. What is the dominant clair? What is the dominant clair? Power, Archangel Metatron, and clear quartz. Okay, so this is actually related to the crown chakra, which is claircognizance. So yes, this is just confirming what I was getting. You have all 3, claircognizance, clairvoyance, and clairaudience. So that's basically the crown, the third eye, and the throat. It's the 3 chakras basically from the neck up, okay? So these are your 3 main clair abilities, and we're going to get information on how to work with those. All right, so let's take a look at that now. This card wants to be here. I just picked it up and it was there. Okay, so Knight of Swords. Yeah, this is definitely about communication, receiving information. I heard clairaudience very strong from this, but I also see this as clairvoyance. You know what I think, group number 1? I feel like you receive these downloads through the crown chakra, And claircognizance is that clear state of knowing. So you're receiving these big chunky downloads, and then you see visually, you're able to unpack the truth within those downloads. And then as a result of that, you're able to verbalize it, express it, embody it, speak the truth. Maybe you're even channeling it out. So you have these knowings, and then you're kind of like unpacking it with the clairvoyance and clairaudience. That makes sense. Okay. I also see that you have prescience. Yeah, that's part of clairvoyance, but they showed me the crystal ball and the sonar waves from the bat. So you can see into the future. You have the prophetic gift, or the gift of prophecy, group number 1. And the way that you can harness that is going to be through writing, is what they just said. Yeah, it's going to be through writing. So if you... Ooh, they just told me Nostradamus. Okay, that's pretty intense. I don't know if you have like that level, but that's the example they're giving. So basically what that is writing down channeled information that's to do with future timelines. So just like a bat would send out a signal to see what is around it, that is what you're doing psychically. You're sending out these little signals, these little bings, and getting back this information. Now, depending on which direction you are facing, is what the information you're going to get back is. So this goes into timelines and all of that, which I don't really think we're going to go super in deep about today. But if you guys are interested in understanding timelines, which, by the way, I'm not even fully 100% a master on timelines, like at all. They're very confusing, but we can do a reading on that. So if you guys are interested in a timeline reading, leave that in the comments below. We can certainly make that happen. And I'm sure Spirit would channel some information for all of us to learn together. But I'm seeing that you have the gift of prophecy. Now, the reason that they're bringing up direction is important here is because let's say you're facing to the left and there's a table and you send out that little bat signal and it tells you that there's a table up ahead that way. Okay, that's great. That's on one timeline. But if you turn, let's say 90 degrees and you're looking in a different direction and you send out that little bing, it comes back and there's a wall. So it depends on your positioning. And when we're talking about time and clairvoyance, we're actually talking about your perspective and your current vibrational frequency, what you're aligning to, because that's what dictates your timeline. So I'm seeing that you, as the high priestess here with this clairvoyance, claircognizance, and clairaudience, are very able to channel information from the future. But you have to be aware that using your discernment to unpack that is going to be really important, and understanding that your perspective and your current vibration is going to dictate the information you get. Okay. The Tower. Ooh, wow. This is not bad. What I'm seeing here is the lightning hitting the clock face. So these are downloads that come straight in through your third eye, is what they just showed me. You might have like very active visions. You know, it's like, it's almost reminding me of that show, That's So Raven, you know, where she's just kind of like sitting in school or sitting in class, and then all of a sudden she has this like moment of clarity. Or a more recent reference would be Wednesday Addams from from the show Wednesday, I think it's called. Anyway, so just kind of like having these moments of like intense downloads where you're seeing something and you're receiving this information and then writing it down. Wednesday Addams would be a really good example of this because she's seeing it, but she's also a writer. So that's kind of what I'm seeing for you, group number 1. So yeah, big, massive downloads coming in and receiving this information and then needing to kind of channel it out, either verbally or through your written word, or even through your actions, because power can be about free will. That's connected, like I said, to the crown chakra. So using your free will to direct this energy effectively. Very much, yeah, okay. The Four of Pentacles. Now, it's really important that you stay grounded in this, because what I'm seeing is that these are very, very intense energies. And again, this is reminding me of the positioning, like which direction are you looking in, because that's the information you're going to get. What's your current vibrational frequency, or the frequency of the person you're connecting to, because I do feel like you have the capacity to read for other people, group number 1. But again, you have to be very grounded and very objective and detached to be able to do that accurately. And even then, there's going to be some level of distortion or bias that comes from the ego, because all of this information of these downloads is going to have to pass through through the layer of the ego, which is kind of like a lens through which we see the world. And that's true for every single psychic, including myself. So that's why it's important to use your discernment when receiving information from others, especially of a psychic nature. Okay, so anyway, back to the Four of Pentacles. I feel like this is what's blocking you, because that was the question that I was going to ask next. I didn't even have to ask it. It just came out. So again, it's kind of like you don't even have to necessarily ask these questions. You just get these answers. That's what I'm seeing for you, group number 1. You get the answers before you even ask the question. Now, the Four of Pentacles as a block can indicate that there is a need for grounding, especially when we're working with these upper chakras like this. It's very important that your root chakra, your sacral, and your solar plexus are in alignment, and the heart. I mean, really, it's important that all of them are aligned, but especially the root chakra. That's what I'm seeing here. Four of Pentacles is an earth energy. So being stable and anchored to the earth is going to help you, especially because you're very flight oriented in terms of your psychic abilities. Like you're very sort of high up in the clouds, and it's easy to kind of get lost up there. It's really important to anchor that down so that you have those roots that create stability and that help you to integrate that information and use it to express yourself functionally, to embody that truth. Really, it's about self-expressing through embodying that truth. Now, the sun is related to the body. So again, I really feel like there is a propensity for these higher energies that are like, he's got this pentacle on the top of his head. It's all up in the mind for you, group number 1. So you really have to work extra hard and be super diligent about your body. Clairsentience could be a tertiary one. Again, like I said, we all have all of them. Clairsentience, I think, could actually really help you to anchor and stabilize the rest of these upper clairs. So clairsentience is like the physical senses in the body, and being able to feel safe in the body and feel energy move through the body and get information from the body itself. That's going to actually help you integrate and apply what I'm seeing from the clairs of, clairaudience being like the bunny's ears here, clairvoyance being the bat sonar, and claircognizance being these flying creatures that just kind of, you're receiving information very quickly from the ethers. So let's see. How to work with this. Okay, they said clear these away. So we're just going to set these to the side. We're going to get more information about how to work with this. Actually, I'm going to leave that there because that's your significator. Okay. Yeah, we're just going to go in with the tarot for this part. How to work better with this energy for group 1, please. The King of Pentacles, that's what I'm talking about here. This is grounding. Grounding yourself is going to help these clairs function better for you, group number 1. It's really important that you are focusing on creating physical safety within the body, feeling your body, connecting to your body, grounding yourself through connection to nature, grounding mats, grounding... they just gave me a message that you might be the type of person also who can get overwhelmed by frequencies. So you might feel ungrounded when you're around too many people because, again, you're tuning into everything. You might feel ungrounded when you're exposed to too much technology as well. Laptops, phones, computers, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all of those things can disrupt the energy because it's like throwing an EMP into... I don't even know if that would affect a bat, but it's kind of like the sensitivity that you have through the upper clairs that you're working with can be influenced or impacted by those types of frequencies. So you want to watch for that and make sure that if you're exposed to a lot of those frequencies, make sure that you are getting out into nature without your phone. Just go sit under a tree is what they're showing me in my mind, literally. Oh, and he's sitting down. I wasn't even looking at the card when I said that. But yeah, he's sitting down on the ground, and this is the King of Earth. So sitting under a tree without your phone, preferably in an area that doesn't have a whole lot of, signals going around, but that's kind of hard to find nowadays. But that's what they're showing me. That's what's going to help you work with this. I do feel those two as well. You see, she's sitting under a tree. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is how clairvoyance works too, by the way. They show me things visually in my mind, And then you see, because you're tapping into the future, you're tapping into what has not happened yet. And I'll actually give you an example. That this happened to me the other day, but there's so many of these things that happen in my daily life. I was driving down the highway and realized that I hadn't thought about my insurance in a while. And I was like, did I renew my insurance? I'll have to check that when I get home. I haven't thought about it in like 6 months. It just popped into my mind out of nowhere. And literally, I think 5 minutes later, I got pulled over by a cop, and he said, the reason I pulled you over is because your insurance is expired. And I was like, holy shit. So I tuned into that very quickly right before it was about to happen. Not that that was really helpful for me. It didn't give me the preparation or the time I needed to rectify that, but it all turned out okay in the end because, it brought attention to something that I was not aware of. So that's good. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here, is that you can tune into the future. How far ahead you see, I think, will depend on a lot of different factors. The timeline, whether whether the information is relevant, and how grounded you are. You also have the Lover's card. Okay. So how to work with this energy? Well, I got connection from the Lovers. Connection and duality. I'm seeing duality, balancing this out. Now, which makes perfect sense, because the gift of divine truth is about seeing beyond duality. To use the third eye and clairvoyance in a functional way, we need to understand the balance of truth, the opposites, and we need to actually integrate and unify those. Because if we're seeing through the clairvoyant ability, but we're not understanding that all truths are one, we can sometimes see in a distorted way, or we can have those biases negatively influence the information we're getting. Especially if we see it through a lens of fear or a cognitive distortion of some kind. That's what I'm getting here with the Lovers. So it's important to unify. That's why I talk about being able to activate the heart chakra before you start working with clairvoyance and things like that. Now, this is one of your natural clairs, so I think this is just kind of something that you already have going on, but I would definitely recommend working with the heart chakra and the root chakra. Those are the two main ones that are going to help you stabilize this and see through a higher lens of truth, because love is the clearest lens of truth that you can look through. Okay. It unifies the opposites, that's why. You have the Queen of Wands. I just heard energy activation from the Queen of Wands. Okay. And the Queen of Swords. So 2 queens. Working with your feminine energy is going to be important. Yeah. Working with your feminine energy. Now, the Queen of Swords is clairaudience. This is writing and hearing information. We did see that for you. So again, you've got that for sure. But the Queen of Wands would be more like clairsentience. So I think that that's going to be important for you to work with as well, group number 1. You have another queen, the Queen of Pentacles. They're definitely emphasizing that you ground. And it's interesting that the Queen of Pentacles is coming out right underneath the King of Pentacles. So these are 2 opposite polarities, and we have the Lovers. So this is very much about merging polarities within yourself, the feminine and the masculine. The feminine polarity is receptive, it is calm, it is open, it is very, very intuitive and creative and holistic. The masculine polarity within us is active, it is protective, it is doing oriented rather than being oriented, it is external. So if you think about a plug, the feminine is the outlet and the masculine is the plug that you're plugging into it. And that's how that information is transferred. That's how that energy is moved through the system. And so that's what I'm seeing here as well. The Queen of Wands doing some sacral chakra healing would help this as well. I think it's really like all your chakras, but definitely the heart, the root, and the sacral are important here. So balancing the yin and the yang energy within you, masculine and feminine polarities, that's actually going to help you to integrate more information in a fluid way. That's what Spirit just said. Integrate more information in a fluid way. And you're going to feel more grounded and more stable to be able to express this and speak your truth. Because I do see that a lot of this is probably channeling for others, writing books, sharing information, seeing into the future, prophesizing, being able to do readings like this would be an example of that, or doing channeling work like there's different channels on YouTube that are good examples of that. I can't think of any of Braca Goldsmith, I think is a name, Amanda Ellis. So there's a couple of different channels that they do verbal channeling like that. So whether or not you like those individuals, it's just an example of how this can present. Abraham Hicks is another one. That's probably the most well-known version of that, is of verbal channeling. So you guys can probably do that if you are making sure that you're grounding and anchoring and stabilizing these physical energies of masculine and feminine within your system. Like I said, sit under a tree, okay? That's what the Knight of Cups, you've got another bunny here. So what is their main ability? Hearing, like their big ears. So being able to hear in a clear way. I also associate the bunny with clairsentience because they're very sensitive and feeling oriented. So doing some healing work in the body and how you feel and channel emotions, I think is going to help as well. And I didn't even look down at the second card that had flipped over, and it's the Queen of Cups. You have literally all the queens. You have all 4 queens in the deck on your table, on the what? This has never happened before in a reading, group number 1. So work with your feminine energy, whether you identify as male or female, doesn't matter. The feminine polarity is within all of us. This is your power. This is your strength. This is what's going to help you to work with your psychic abilities in a more productive and effective way. And the ironic thing is that I just used the word productive, but the female polarity, or the queens, are not necessarily about productivity in the traditional action sense. It's more like productive by resting, productive by feeling, productive by receiving information, channeling that through you and embodying that, really embodying it in that state of being. So really focus on that, because that's what's going to help you the most. I do see there's 2 more cards here. Okay. The King of Swords, so many kings and queens. You know, the court cards can represent aspects of yourself, but they can also represent physical people. So I think that being able to work with these gifts is going to be helpful if you can practice it with other people, if you can sort of mirror it off of other people, offer readings, or offer to psychically tune into people who consent, right? That's really important. We don't read for people without their consent. That's inappropriate, and that's an infringement of energetic boundaries, okay? But I'm seeing that working with other people can help this as well. And you have, holy shit, you guys. Sorry for swearing. I say shit sometimes in my readings. It's fine. I hope you guys don't mind. You've got the King of Cups. I'm just blown away by how many court cards are here. Like, what? You have so many court cards. You have all of the queens, and then you have 3 of the kings. The only king you're missing is the King of Swords. No, you have the King of Swords, King of Cups, King of Pentacles. Why? I don't know why I'm King of Wands. I don't know why I just blanked out on what's the 4th one. Okay, so yeah, this is very powerful energy. First of all, the kings and queens are dominance. They are very powerful leadership-based energies. So you are probably meant to be a leader in some regard using your psychic abilities. We were getting that from Nostradamus, the reference to Nostradamus, right? He was a leader in what he was talking about. And I'm not super well versed on what his predictions were or how they came true. The only reference to him that I'm familiar with, which I haven't even done a lot of research into, was the fact that he somehow predicted, or perhaps predicted, the Twin Tower attack, something like that. Oh, they're also telling me that he predicted the fall of an empire. Byzantine, perhaps. I'm just receiving that information, but I will have to double check that. Now, that's a really good example in real time about working with this Claire as well, group number 1. It's very important that you don't take anything at face value for yourself or for others. When you receive information, yes, you can trust your clairvoyance and clairaudience and these downloads you get, but make sure that you are vetting that and double checking that information, you know. It is important to find references for things. It's kind of balancing that feminine and masculine. The feminine is very intuitive and receptive, and it just trusts what it feels and what it receives. And the masculine is more likely to want to analyze it from a logical perspective or to find a linear sort of reference for that. So it's like receiving a download of information and then Google searching it and doing some research, right? That's the perfect balance between this masculine and feminine energy. But yeah, I see that working with other people, working with this Claire in a leadership position could be helpful, or using it to express in a way that is very forward thinking and forward acting. That's what I'm seeing. Okay, we sort of asked if there was anything blocking it, and they did mention the root chakra. Let me see if there's anything else around that's blocking that you need to be aware of. They said gather up the cards again. Okay, so we're just going to go into a little bit of a... Okay, what is blocking and how to clear that block? The Emperor. Okay. The Five of Cups. The Two of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. And the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, so, wow. Okay, let me just sit and think about this. Group number 1. What is blocking this? Well, all the pentacles here reminds me of the root chakra again. So finding stability, I think, is going to be a major support for you in working with these clairs. I feel this one sitting on top. Hold on. The Three of Cups. I do feel like working with other people is going to be helpful. I was getting that from all of your court cards, but now I'm also seeing it here in the Three of Cups. So working with other people and being able to collaborate or to communicate through your gifts and self-express and embody your truth is going to be really important. I keep getting leadership energy as well, so you might feel blocked by the fact that if you don't feel super grounded or stable in what you're doing, or you don't feel like you're going to be accepted, you might have an internal authority that is working against you. So what do I mean by that? Well, it could be that you have an inner critic that is very unhelpful in you doing this work and being in a position of authority, even if it's just within yourself, right? It doesn't have to be in a literal leadership position. It can just be you feeling that you can trust your guidance and act on it in a helpful and productive way for yourself and others. So facing your inner critic is what I'm seeing here, and I think grounding and doing some emotional healing is going to be part of that. So definitely increasing your sense of internal security and your mental discipline. The bird on her hand here in the Nine of Pentacles represents discipline. So this is training, conditioning, making sure that you are persistent and consistent with your grounding. That creates a sense of security. And in doing that, you will have the stable foundation and base to be able to deal with any upsetting emotions that may be attached to the idea of working with this gift. Especially for people who are clairvoyant, I see a lot of the time in past lives, there may have been persecution. There may have been, rejection or ostracization, or even being put to death for these types of things by authority figures who didn't understand the gift, or who saw it as black magic, or where you threatened the status quo, and so they just took you out, or whatever it was. So that's the kind of thing that can be needing to be processed here, and grounding through the root chakra will give you the stable foundation, like I said, to help you tap into those things and to heal and release them. Very feminine aspect of healing here. So being able to feel, being able to receive this information, and again, because you're so clairvoyant and claircognizant, you can get this information. Maybe channeling it out through writing too could be helpful. That will give you some indication of what may be blocking this and how to clear it, but I definitely see security being a big part of that. All right, so that is what I have for you, group number 1. That is your dominant clair, working with balancing your root chakra and activating or working with the feminine and masculine polarities in harmony, but especially the feminine is really going to help you to level up your dominant 3 clairs, the claircognizance, the clairvoyance, and the clairaudience, and put you in a position where you can serve either by embodying and expressing your authentic truth, and or by helping other people along the way by doing that. So that is what I see for you. I hope that this reading helped. If you guys are interested in learning more about clairs, activating your psychic abilities, or working as an intuitive or a psychic, I do have spiritual mentorship available. So you can find the information to my services, products, and support systems through my website, which is linked in the description box below. Thanks for being here, guys. I love you. Sending you all the best on your psychic development journey, and we'll see you in the next reading. Bye. All right. Hi, group number 2. Welcome to your reading. You guys chose this particular High Priestess, which goes with this deck, and we're going to use that to get some information about your dominant clair or clairs. We're going to also pull some oracle cards. So let's start off with those, because I'm not actually getting anything just yet. So actually, yeah, I think I'm going to start with the cosmic creatures for you guys. What is group number 2's dominant clair? The shark. Ooh. I'm getting sensitivity right away from this. The skin. The skin is standing out to me. So this would be clairsentience. Being able to feel extrasensory information through the body, through the actual skin. Let's get more. I feel this card right on the bottom here. Oh, there's 2. Oh, these 2 came up in group number 1 as well. So the bat, it's like sonar or echolocation, being able to sense and feel your environment, see your environment, and then the rabbit as well. So this one was reminding me in group number 1 of clairvoyance, and this one was reminding me of clairaudience, but I'm definitely feeling clairsentience for you, group number 2. That's a big one here. Big. Okay, clairsentience. So if you're not familiar with the clairs, I did put a little intro into that after the intro into this main video. So check that out. It's in the timestamps. You have unconditional trust, Archangel, Ascended Master, Mother Mary, and Celestite. Unconditional trust. Okay. Oop. No, just keep going. Okay. What other clair? Fire, confidence, optimism, passion, and bravery. So the fire element itself always reminds me of clairsentience, because a lot of the time I find that fire sign individuals, Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries, tend to have a predominance toward clairsentience. Now, that is not always going to be the case. Every person is different, and it does depend on so many other factors. But I've just, from my own experience, either working with clients or having friends and family and, things like that around me, that I've noticed a sort of a common theme there around that. So being able to feel, I do want to get one more of these. I don't know which one it is yet, but let's see. The North Node, destined to have. So it's very destined for you to work with your sensitivity, because that's what it feels like. It's a sensitivity in the body. You want to be mindful of that. And you have sextile, a combination of tension and flow, potential, and a rewarding situation. Okay. So group number 2. I feel like your sacral chakra and your crown chakra are both really important here. The sacral would be connected to clairsentience and the crown to claircognizance. So I feel like you get these downloads of information that come through the crown, but they're being processed at the body level. So you want to pay attention to your skin, your muscles, what you feel emotionally as well. But I'm feeling it less to do with emotions and more to do with the actual sensations in the body, which are a little different. Feelings and sensations are sort of different things, because feelings are more like emotions and sensations are very physical. But they do have crossover. Now you have the King of Pentacles reversed. So yeah, this is in the body for sure. Listen to your body, I just heard them say. So in this case, the rabbit is not talking about clairaudience for you. It's talking about listening to your body, because there's information flowing through your body that you may you may not have been bringing awareness to. You may not have been trusting that. You've got the Six of Wands reversed as well. Yeah, it's like you're not listening to it. You're not trusting it. So I think this is what's blocking it. I was going to ask that question eventually. You have the King of Wands. This is that fire sign energy that I'm talking about here. Whether or not you are a fire sign, you really don't have to be. But in the bottom of the deck, we have the Queen of Pentacles reversed. So you've got these two matching energies, both in reverse. So you really need to go internal. Look, there's a rabbit here that I just noticed. You really need to amp up your sensitivity. That's going to help you to really see the full spectrum here, is what they just showed me. You're going to see the full spectrum rather than what has been distorted or not trusting. Because I feel like you have maybe some trust issues, group number 2. Trusting yourself, trusting what you feel. Feeling safe to connect to the body. I feel like that's one of the main things here that they're talking about. It's like tension. If you feel like you have constantly tension in the body, it's really hard to tune into it and to feel clearly through the body because it's kind of being overwhelmed with tension. But that could also be as a result of how highly sensitive you are. So you really need to feel this more clearly, and to do so, it could be about doing some kind of somatic work. So working with the body on a physical level, doing like physiotherapy, movement. I just see it. I'm seeing foam rolling in my mind, foam rolling, like working the muscles, doing myofascial release. That's what it's called. Thank you, Spirit. They reminded me. Myofascial release, because there's something about your body, your muscles, your fascia, your bones even, but especially I'm seeing the skin. You're hypersensitive. So you might be somebody who's very sensitive to touch, very sensitive to, like those very physical senses that are in the body itself. Yeah, this could even be sensitivity to really any kind of stimulus, light, sound. Okay. You have, your heightened senses, group number 2. So you need to ground that and feel safe. There needs to be a release. A lot of that energy is getting backed up in the system is what they're showing me. So it's really hard to feel clearly when the whole system is kind of over-encumbered, overwhelmed. Yeah. But you have a lot of power, okay? You have a lot of power, a lot of strength. But you have to kind of combat some of the survival mechanisms of the body, like the fight or flight responses that may come about due to an overwhelmed sensory input system. It's kind of like, okay, so I'll give you an example. Like for me, I have ADHD, and so I do have sensory sensitivities because it's kind of like being a little bit on the autism spectrum. And that does lead to issues with sound and touch and textures and things like that. So, the classic examples of I have to cut all tags off of clothes. I can't wear any clothes that are too pinching or tight or constricting or certain textures. I need to wear noise canceling headphones most of the time and sunglasses when I'm out, even if it's not broad daylight. Things like that. Like sensory overwhelm can really be a thing here. Sensory stimulus can be overwhelming and overstimulating for you. So that's why I think that doing some clearing work here would actually help to do that and getting physical safety. It's basically nervous system regulation, and that's why they're recommending doing some physical work, somatic release, craniosacral, doing stretching, basically anything that helps the body to release energy and tension and to feel safe. But because you're so sensitive, that might be a little bit challenging at first. But I see that it's going to help you step into your power and move that energy through you so that it's not getting stuck or blocked in certain areas and creating this tension, which is making it really hard to embody and feel clearly. So you really, really need, group number 2, to step into the full power of this energy. The full expression is very, very powerful, very strong. And if your sensory overwhelm makes you feel weak, it can be like an unconscious thing to just shut that down or try to tune out or dissociate from it. That's where I think the trust issues are coming in here. It's like not trusting your body because your body feels overwhelming to be in. But if you can clear this out, and I think this is going to take some time, okay? I'm not going to lie. What I'm seeing here is that this is probably going to take years, okay? So doing nervous system regulation work, reconditioning the brain and the body to work more functionally together, you might want to do some vagal toning. Vagal toning is part of polyvagal theory, and the vagus nerve is what connects the brain to the body. So if you can calm down the vagus nerve, it will help the central nervous system to function and communicate better, both receiving information from the body and sending information out to the body. So I'm really seeing that it's nervous system work here for you, group number 2. So doing some kind of therapy for that, physio or something, is going to help, because it's going to put you back into this healthy level of the sensitivity where it's more balanced and you can control it and you can work with it and trust yourself. Now, if this is not something to do with oversensitivity, that might not be the case, but it could also be that you're not trusting what you're getting. Okay, so if what I was talking about before doesn't apply, then what I'm seeing here is that you may have a hard time trusting the sensory information or input that you're getting. So what is clairsentience? Okay, I did describe this in the little brief synopsis just after the intro in the main part of the video, but I will reiterate a little bit just for you here, group 2. Clairsentience is the ability to feel extrasensory information through the body. And like I said, I keep getting the message about your skin being important here. So feeling tingling, rushing, pressure, zapping, prickling, crawling sensations in the skin. These can all be information that you are receiving from extrasensory input, like energetically. So for example, when I first started activating my psychic abilities, clairsentience was the first one to come online. I started feeling rushing and tingling sensations when I was doing Reiki on myself or on others. I started feeling the downloads and activations through the attunements I was receiving. A lot of it was coming through the crown chakra, so I started feeling tingling, pressure, almost like an egg being dropped onto the top of my head. Like that is what it felt like. When I feel negative blocks and things like that, sometimes it will feel like a pressure in the area of my body that the other person has the block in. So let's say they have a block in their solar plexus, I will feel that like pressure or density in my own stomach. So it's being able to sort of tune into that extrasensory input and information through the environment or through the connection to other people and feeling that in your own body. That's what clairsentience is. Sort of similar to empathy, but empathy is more emotion-based, whereas clairsentience is very physical sensation-based. So being able to trust what you're getting there, I think, and not doubting what you feel, like literally forming a better relationship with your body is what I'm seeing, group number 2. Because you have great potential here and you're destined to have and work with this. You're destined to embody this and it will be very rewarding for you. But I'm seeing that you really do have a pretty major challenge to overcome here in terms of the obstacle of feeling safe in your body and trusting what is coming through. So let's get some more information on that. I'm just going to kind of gather up these cards and we're going to ask more information about that. Actually, let me leave your significator on the table. Okay, so what can group number 2 do to work with this energy better? You know, we've already talked about some things, but what else? What's more information that they need to know? 5 of Wands reversed. Okay. The Empress reversed. Yeah, the Empress is the feminine polarity, and she is very sensitive to the physical environment. That's part of her creative flow. And the 5 of Wands reversed, I feel like this is overcoming fear of opposition. Let me just get more information here. What is needing to be cleared? How can group number 2 work with this energy more effectively? I feel those 2. The 5 of Cups reversed. Why are all of these cards in reverse? The Queen of Wands reversed. Yeah, the Queen of Wands would be in the upright position, being able to work functionally with this energy and to feel and trust and to be able to create out of that. Now, that's another thing about clairsentience, is that it's a highly physically oriented state of being. And so it does very well through hands-on types of learning or creation. So physically making things, expressing, building. It's very sensory, very tactile types of learning. So yeah, hands-on works very well for this type of energy. And the Magician in the reverse position. Yeah, it's just the cards. See, there's uprights and reversals in here, but you're getting all reversals. So yeah, it does. Group number 2, it feels like you need to clear some blocks. You've got blocks in the system. They keep showing me the muscles. If you have tension in your physical body, that is going to obstruct this energy from flowing well. You need to create a sense of security in your body, connect to your body, ground into your body, feel safe in it. Doing some grounding techniques would be helpful. Having a grounding mat or some grounding crystals would help, black tourmaline. But I do feel like you need to cleanse and stuff too, so I feel like selenite could also be helpful there. 2 of Swords. Yeah, not trusting. You really need to start trusting what your body is telling you, group number 2. But if you don't feel safe in the body and you've dissociated from it because it feels overwhelming to feel so much all the time, it's going to make it really hard to embrace this gift. And it is a gift. But let me tell you, when we're working with clairs, it can feel sometimes like a burden. Okay, so you do kind of need to learn to master this. Because I remember when I first started seeing clairvoyantly, it felt like too much. And same thing with clairsentience. Like it felt like too much. And it was only after years of working with this and tempering the skill and learning what I needed to do to balance things out that it became more manageable. And I could turn it off and on at will. Okay, so, and you can do that too. There's a way to do that. You can pull your energy in. You can sort of contract your auric field. That's going to help, because what you're doing is you're aurically connecting to everything in your environment. And I think some of this for you, group number 2, may be from fight or flight. When your nervous system is in fight or flight, it just does this automatically. It's like chronic hypervigilance. But when you are naturally clairsentient, that's just going to make it even more overwhelming, because you're just picking up on literally everything, but you're doing it out of survival fear. So it's going to make it really hard, because you're seeing through the lens of that fear physically. Your body is in a state of survival. And so it's going to be really hard to interpret accurately the information you're getting from the extrasensory. Yeah, it's like you receive so much. 8 of Wands in reverse. Literally all these cards are reversed. So there's definitely some blocks here you need to address, group number 2, and it's going to be really helpful for you to do that, because not only are you going to be able to control this better and not have it feel quite so overwhelming and out of your hands, but you're also going to be able to direct this energy more effectively and trust what it is that you are receiving and feeling, because you will know how to work with it better. So the first thing I recommend, and this is what I did, was feeling and grounding into the body, and working through any of those physical or emotional blocks to feeling into the body. So I know for me, it was really hard to get into my body, because I had some trauma around my body at a pretty young age. And so it didn't feel safe. It didn't feel safe for me to be in my body, because that's where the trauma happened. And so my soul was almost like standing out behind my body most of the time. So this is really doing some deep emotional healing. I just heard mother wound. So this could be around nurturing. Maybe your physical needs were not met or honored or trusted. Maybe you would tell them, that hurts, don't do that. And they'd be like, no, it's fine, because for other people, that wouldn't hurt. But for you, it does, because you're extrasensory sensitive. And I didn't mean to say normal as in you're not normal. I mean you're special, okay? That's what I mean. You're extraordinary, okay? Group number 2, and so you need extraordinary care. And if your mother was not aware of that, even despite her best efforts, she may have actually done damage in trying to care for you in a way that she thought you needed, but what you really needed was to be understood at this very, very sensory sensitive level. to be nurtured physically, held. You probably needed to be held a lot as a child, carried around. Having that skin-to-skin contact would have been really important. So if your mother wasn't around a lot, that could have been what resulted in this this disconnection and lack of safety. I'm feeling like it's insecurity in connection to the body. But it could also be, if there was trauma or you felt emotionally overwhelmed a lot of the time, that can be really hard to get in the body as well. So it's like doing some therapy here, doing some trauma healing, doing some physical somatic work and release. These are all going to help. And being very gentle. Okay, so don't force, don't push, don't try to steamroll your way through the emotions, because that's going to be counterproductive. Don't go for like deep tissue massages. Don't do that. Go for a very light, very gentle, very soothing, nurturing massage or release. So if you're doing any myofascial release, make sure you're doing it extremely slowly and building your way up and building up your tolerance, because if you force it, you're going to go in the opposite direction that you need to here, group number 2. 8 of Cups. I feel like this is a journey for you to go on, and that's why I keep getting that this is going to take years, okay? So have patience with yourself here, because you're unpacking a lot and you're dealing with a lot as it is. There's going to be a lot of emotional, I just heard emotional deprivation. Oh, maybe doing some sensory deprivation work would be helpful, like going to a float tank or something like that. Yeah, sensory deprivation. I did mention like noise canceling headphones, things like that. That can help you to recalibrate your senses and clear some blocks out. But you'll probably have to face some emotional stuff if you're doing float tank work, because yeah, it does confront you with anything that's kind of unresolved underneath the surface. The Hermit. Yeah, this is the subconscious mind, but you're going to find a lot of wisdom there, and it's going to help you. It's going to help you. This is Virgo energy. So getting grounded in the body, like I said, is going to be important. You've got Taurus here as well. So earth sign energy is going to help you, either being around people who are earth signs, who are very naturally nurturing, understanding, compassionate, and physically secure. That's going to help you. I also see you embodying this energy for yourself. Whatever sign you happen to be, doesn't matter. It's just embodying that earth sign energy is going to help you to create some stability. Ace of Wands. I just heard sexual healing, okay? So if some of you have any sexual trauma or resistance to sexuality, again, we have the Queen of Pentacles on the bottom. This is about grounding, okay? It's grounding back into your body and doing some physical healing here, because that's what's going to help put you into a balanced approach or a balanced receptivity using your skill, your gift, because this is a gift, group number 2, but it needs to be honored as such. And I don't feel like it was for you for most of your life. And I think that's why your body can feel like a battlefield. And that's why there's some healing work to do and some unpacking. But again, you need to do it slowly and gently, which is why this is going to take years. So please, please be patient with yourself. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it in the long run. There's going to be rewards. That's what Spirit just told me. The rewards are, first of all, that you're going to feel safer. Second of all, that you're going to be able to heal psychologically and physically, because those two are kind of tied together. The nervous system and the psychology of the mind have a direct impact onto the body, and how the body feels also impacts the mind, but it's more so the mind to body. Like 80% of the neurons are from the brain to the body and not the other way around. So your brain really does control your body and your physical experience. So I keep getting this message of sensitivity. So you need gentleness, you need nurturing, you need care, you need soft touch, or whatever feels safe for you. Like I know for some, let's take an autistic person, for example. Sometimes their sensory wiring is so different that soft touch will actually feel painful. And so they need physical pressure. Like, that pressure can be actually really helpful. So apply it to how you know your body functions. Everybody's different, but I feel like the more you get to know your body, group number 2, the easier this is going to be to feel safe and start working with this gift in a functional way, rather than fearing it and repressing it and feeling overwhelmed or burdened by it, okay? Because this really is a gift, and it can be really worth it for you if you can create that grounded, safe environment for your body to exist within. Okay, let me see if there's anything else. Okay, we covered the dominant Claire. Yes, we know that. We definitely covered what's blocking it, and we're basically covering how to work with it. But let's get some additional information just for austerity or posterity. What's the word? Just to be thorough. Let me just put it that way. Just to be thorough, let's get some information about how to work with this functionally, because we kind of went into that, but let's do specifics here. How can group number 2 work functionally with clairsentience? 7 of Cups reversed, again with the reversals, group number 2, my God. So getting very clear on your emotional body. Getting very clear. You're going to be able to feel things that other people don't feel and choose wisely. I see you being able to, you know, it's kind of like walking into an environment and feeling like this doesn't feel safe. Your body just, you know, you get like that spidey sense. Something's tingling in you, tells you to go the other direction. You listen to that and you keep yourself safe. So part of that, like I said, the dysfunctional side of that can be hypervigilance. But the functional side of that is that you are sensing into extrasensory information through the energy field, through your auric field. So you can feel into, you can also feel into future and past as well, is what they just showed me. So let's say, for example, this is actually quite common for people who are clairsentient or very highly sensitive. If you were to walk into like let's say an abandoned mental asylum where a lot of suffering and torture took place, you would probably feel very ill at ease, more so than an average person, because you're not only picking up on the eeriness of the space, but you're also feeling all of the energy that was experienced there. You actually might have a hard time with hospitals, even certain houses or certain spaces where there has been a lot of damage done or trauma emotionally in the environment. You're very capable of picking up on that past, present, or future. So pay attention to those things too, because I feel like you're not necessarily understanding that that's what's happening yet. Maybe you do, but I think for most of you, this is very unconscious. And because that trust issue is there and because that disconnection from the body is there, it makes it very hard for you to feel and know what it is that you're feeling. Yeah, know what it is that you're feeling. The Hermit, again, this time upright. So it's very important that you introspect. I feel like because you're so sensitive in this case too, group number 2, is that spending time alone can be helpful. Now, that doesn't mean isolate yourself. It's important to have the right connections around you, people who are stable, grounded in their own bodies. They can actually help you co-regulate, because what I'm feeling here is an insecure nervous system. So having people around you who I said, like a Virgo energy, very stable, very predictable, very balanced, very emotionally even keeled, grounded, salt of the earth type of people. These are going to help you to feel safer in your own body, because that's what they are embodying. And again, you're so sensitive that you tune into that. You merge with their field, and it actually helps you to co-regulate. And the opposite is also true. If you're around somebody who's very erratic, emotionally unstable, ungrounded, or unsafe to be around physically because they're unpredictable with their emotions or actions, then that's going to really bump up against your field and negatively have detrimental effects on you. So you have to choose who you're around very wisely. And I think that's why there may be a tendency to just introvert, be alone and protect yourself in that way. But it's helpful in the long run to connect with the right people. The Star, healing. Very, very important that you do some healing work, group number 2. Let me put a crystal over her because her boobs are out. Not that there's anything wrong with nakedness, but the YouTube algorithm is sensitive about that. So I feel like doing some healing work is going to be really important. They keep giving me the word psychology. Yeah, so doing some psychological healing work, healing the nervous system, the emotions, that's going to connect to the body. Some of that, like I said, can be done through somatic release. 4 of Pentacles. Yeah, somatic release. Releasing these physical things that have been stored up in the system. So that's really how to work with this. And what is this King of Swords talking about here? Hold on. Let me just tune in. They said one more Ace of Pentacles reversed. Okay. Huh. King of Swords here. Oh, discernment. They just said discernment. discernment about who you give energy to or who you allow to give energy to you. Because like I said, you are so, your field is just massive, group number 2. Everywhere you walk, you're just energetically bumping into everything. And because you're super sensitive, that can feel like a lot. It's like they're showing me, oh, I don't like that, but they're showing me something. They're showing me like a cheese grater grating on your auric field. That is not a nice image, but that's the example they're giving me. That's kind of like to sum it up, it feels like everywhere you go, it's grinding against things and it hurts. So you have to be very discerning about how you move through the world, really. Choosing very, very directly who is given access to your auric field and who is not. So you have to kind of vet people. You have to be a little bit more, I want to say careful. You want to be more careful with who you let into your auric field. And trust your body, because if your body's telling you this person is not safe or this person is not good to let into your auric field, then don't. Because safety is number 1 for you. And because your body is so sensitive, it will tell you this information. But I think that there's been an issue with trusting it. Like you may have overridden that. Like you'll feel a little bit off or ill at ease around someone and you'll be like, no, it's fine. But it's not. So you do need to trust your intuition, because it's communicating to you through your body, okay? That's how your intuition and psychic abilities work, is through your body. Okay. Yeah, that is what I have for you, group number 2. I really hope that this reading helped to give you some insight into your psychic abilities, because we all have all of them, but definitely clairsentience is your top one, and especially the one that needs the most work right now. So I would challenge you to sit with your emotions today if you can. Just spend some time feeling into your body, and you don't have to go deep into the emotions just yet, but I would encourage you to just feel into your body. Like, what does my knee feel like? What does my foot feel like? What does my shoulder feel like? It's sort of a little bit detached, but being in that observer role can help you to start reconnecting and recalibrating your relationship to your body in a healthy way. Okay, physical and sensory self-stimulation can help too. Doing a little bit of some havening techniques, which is basically like petting yourself. It's actually more like hugging yourself, or you can use tapping, EFT tapping. Yeah, but the havening technique is kind of like rubbing your hands down your arms. It calms your nervous system, and it helps to physically stimulate the release of oxytocin as well, which is the bonding hormone. So it really calms you down and can help you to feel safer in the body. So that is what I recommend. I hope that this helps. I'm sending you guys so much love. I hope you can feel my love and my support through your very sensitive auric field. I hope that you receive and anchor that so that you can really feel safe to be your most pure, authentic, and powerful self. So I love you guys. Thank you for being here. And if you need additional support for this, I am a spiritual mentor, a Reiki healer, and of course an intuitive reader. So if you guys need any help or support from me along this journey, I would love to help you. And you can find my services in the description box below through my website. It's tarotandbeyond.com. I love you guys, and we'll see you in the next reading. Bye. All right. Hi, group number 3. Welcome to your reading. Let's find out what your dominant clair is and how to work with this psychic ability. So you guys chose this particular High Priestess card from one of my favorite decks, the Soul Cat Tarot. Thank you to the donor who sent these in through my Amazon wish list below. So we're going to start, actually, you know what? I'll leave these here for a second. Let's start with your oracle cards. What is group 3's dominant clair? I feel those two. Actually 3. Heavenly Mercy, Angel Uziel, and Smoky Quartz. Heavenly Mercy, okay. So It Shall Be, Ascended Master Babaji and Diamond. So It Shall Be. All right. And Passion of the Lionheart, Goddess Sekhmet and Fire Agate. I love Sekhmet. She's fierce. Super powerful. Okay, let's get more info. Yeah, I'm feeling drawn to the Heavenly Bodies deck next. Got those two. Mercury, think, learn, network, and communicate. I'm getting several clairs for you, group number 3. Let's see. 5th house, passion, play, children, confidence, and creativity. Okay. The two that I'm getting really, you know what, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's get some cosmic creatures. I feel these two actually. Ooh, the butterfly. I'm getting Gemini energy. Mercury, the butterfly reminds me of Gemini, and the elephant. Okay, so I have a pretty good idea of what your two clairs are. Or what your clairs are, your dominant clairs. We all have all of them. If you're not familiar with what the clairs are, I did create a little synopsis just after the intro of the main video. So group number 3, I see that clairsentience, similar to group number 2, but a little different, and clairaudience are the two main clairs that I'm seeing here. So clairsentience is the clear feeling in the body, and the clairaudience is clear hearing. It's also being able to channel information verbally or through written word. Okay, so the first thing that I see is like compassion and the connection through the physical body. So I would venture a guess to say, group number 3, that you identify as an empath. Very compassionate, that's what I feel. So it's sort of like a mix of sacral chakra and heart chakra. Root as well. So being very concerned with the needs of the many, the needs of the whole, because you can feel everything that everyone else is feeling. Being very creative as well. So I'm seeing that you have a lot of propensity for being able to express yourself through creative art or through some kind of physical expression. Yeah, definitely manifesting abilities for sure here. And that can come through the sacral chakra, definitely. So clairsentience. And then, like I said, Mercury and the butterfly. Oh, you have to, I didn't even notice that there's a butterfly literally in this card. So you have the butterfly twice. And this reminds me of the throat chakra. So being able to communicate verbally, channeling information and all of that. So those are the two that I'm seeing dominantly. Now, we all have all of them, but I would recommend working primarily with those to start if you are in the beginning stages, because it'll help you to expand the other clairs as well. Because once you turn one of them on, it really does have a domino effect, and you can really help to kind of expand the others. So I feel like I want to gather these up now, and we're going to get more information about what may be blocking, if there's any blocks, and also how to work with this energy more effectively. So let's go into the tarot now. So what is blocking this gift? Knight of Wands, impulsivity perhaps, feeling confused about how or where to direct your energy. Feel that one really strongly. The Four of Wands. It's like stability in your creativity, stability in your ability to feel and hold compassion. I feel like because you're so caring, because you have a lot of energy, it's like, where do I put it? What do I do? So one of the blocks may be physical action. I feel like there may be, especially with that Gemini energy, you might feel drawn in too many directions at once. Like you have this creative impulse 1 minute and then the next you have another one. And it's like, it's really hard to kind of wrangle it in and tame that impulse to get it moving in a direction that's consistent and actioned. You know, it's like physically doing something and then maintaining that until the point that you actually create something. So I feel like you might get overwhelmed by all of these creative impulses and what you feel. I feel a lot of passion, a lot of drive within you, group number 3, but it's like it just needs to be anchored somehow. It needs to be more stable. 5 of Swords. And a lot of this could be through written and verbal communication. Like you might have physical creative impulses, like, I don't know, crafting or expressing your energy through dance or something like that. But I'm really seeing that a lot of it would be ideally directed through your clairaudience, which is the ability to communicate through verbal or written word. But I feel like this is part of the block as well, because it's the 5 of Swords here is about power struggles, miscommunications, misunderstandings, ego, one-upsmanship, conflicts, engaging in these very confrontational types of interactions with other people. So I feel like that could be a fear, or that could be something that you experience. Just, it depends. But I feel like what's blocking this is your ability to, it's like direct the energy. I keep getting that message of directing the energy. Like in this card, the cat is pulling on this, I don't know, like piece of fabric. And it's very sort of streamlined, it's going in one direction, but there's this tug of war happening where all the other little animals are trying to pull it away as well. So it's like a push-pull dynamic that I feel like you have with yourself, or with this gift. And so it's very hard to use the energy effectively, because if you're always fighting against yourself, you're wasting a lot of energy essentially on just kind of battling. And instead, it would be much better directed toward actually physically doing something. 8 of Cups. I heard follow your passion. So working with these clairs, working with your psychic abilities group number 3 is really about following your passion. And I feel like that internal struggle or that internal battle is happening because, first of all, there's a tendency toward kind of oscillating between different things that you're interested in, and a lack of focus or a lack of follow through, perhaps even. But I think it's also because I think that there's a fear of this. You have the Fool card. There's a fear of almost like the responsibility of following through on something. Yeah, there's definitely something that needs to be cleaned up here. The broom in the Fool card is like sweeping something out, cleaning something up, and we're talking about a block here. Specifically, I'm seeing it actually sitting in the solar plexus chakra. Yeah, so this is really trusting yourself to be able to implement, take action on something, and then follow through with it. It's like meeting your goals, basically. And I'm seeing that there's a tendency perhaps toward starting something and then not finishing, or starting something and then getting distracted, and then doing something else and then coming back to the other thing. But it feels like this constant internal tug of war. So really, when we're talking about being able to implement, take action, and move towards your goals, this is actually ironically going to help you to expand your psychic abilities, because you're going to trust yourself more, and you're going to be able to put into action what it is that you are receiving, because you do get a lot of downloads of inspiration. I think that's why you have so many creative impulses, group 3, is because you really do have a lot that you are receiving. But it's kind of like learning to prioritize that and to then implement what takes priority. I think that's kind of a challenge here. 6 of Pentacles, creating balance and knowing where to invest your energy. That's exactly what I was just saying. So this makes sense, group number 3. It's important for you to learn how to prioritize and invest your time, your energy, and your focus wisely, which means not battling against yourself internally and kind of wasting that energy, because that's the term that I'm getting, wasting energy. And to me, it sounds a little bit harsh, because I don't really think there's ever a waste. We learn something from everything, so nothing's like a pure waste of time or energy. But that's what they said twice in my head. You're wasting your energy. So it's really important that you use discernment in how you take action and what's going on internally that's either promoting that growth or not. Let's see, Page of Wands. Yeah, taking action. I see a lot of curiosity in you, a lot of passion. I think that's why you're kind of pulled all over the place. So this is what's blocking, right? This is what's blocking. It's finding a way to create balance for yourself. You've got the 2 of Pentacles as well. So you do need to learn to create balance between these impulses and what your goals are and what you're feeling, what you're picking up on, because you do have something important to share with the world, group number 3. I'm getting that very strongly. You have something important to share with the world. You are a creative force to be reckoned with, but you kind of have to learn to master the ability to do this in a way that is balanced. It's really important that you stop fighting against yourself and instead bring yourself into harmony. 2 of Cups on the bottom of the deck. Bring yourself into harmony. So being able to balance this out through some, I think, like self-trust work, but it's not really trust. It's like self-trust just internally. It's actually like trusting yourself to be able to follow through on something. So setting small, achievable goals, I think, would be a great place to start here, which is kind of going into our next question, which is how to work with this energy. So actually, let's just clear these and we'll get more information on that. How to work with this energy functionally for you, group number 3. But I'm getting this message of like small achievable goals so that you can start building momentum and confidence. That's going to help just to give you some peace of mind, like literally peace of mind, so that you're not battling against yourself so much. And that's going to help initially. Let's see what else you've got. The 4 of Wands again. So it's not only part of the block, but it's part of the solution. So working with this energy functionally, group number 3, is going to be about creating stability. Finding structures that work for you is what I just heard. Finding structures that work for you and provide support. I merged those 2 words together. Provide support for you to take action on your creativity in a way that is sustainable and fun. It needs to be fun for you. I feel like when I do 7D manifesting blueprint readings for people, we look at the type of blueprint you have to work with the energy of manifesting. And there are people who are more process oriented and there are people who are more outcome oriented. I feel like for you, group number 3, you are more process oriented. So this is very much about you need to enjoy what you're doing. And I think that may be something that has been holding you back as well, is if you don't fully enjoy what you're doing, it's going to be really hard to activate and work with your clairsentience and your clairaudience effectively, because it's going to feel a bit like a grind. It's going to feel a bit like that tug of war energy where you're just kind of battling against yourself, trying to get something done and then not following through because it's uncomfortable to do it. And then as a result, you start to feel down on yourself and the cycle repeats. Yeah. So what I see here, group 3, is that working with this functionally is going to be about doing things in a way that feels fun and exciting and sparks your curiosity and allows for some leeway, right? A little bit of movement and transience, but at the same time, it's still moving in the direction that you want to go. So like doing something with your clairsentience and clairaudience that feels stimulating and exciting and new every single day, but doesn't constrict you or limit you to a very rigid same thing, like cookie cutter. It needs to be different. It needs to be varied, but you also need to enjoy the process. Ace of Pentacles again. Investing your time wisely is what I just heard, and taking action. 10 of Cups. Joy is so important for you, group number 3. To work with your clairs functionally, you need to feel joyous. You need to feel connected. You need to feel like you're having fun. So make it fun. Make it fun for yourself. And how do you do that? Well, clairsentience can be really fun to explore and expand through sensory experiences, sensory input, and creating from that. So being very tactile and choosing to do creative pursuits or projects that give you some sensory satisfaction. Like maybe it's working with clay because you like the way it feels in your hands, or for me, it's playing with cards because I like the feeling of the cards in my hands and it stimulates my mind. So it's fun for me to do this. So it's that kind of thing that will help you to, on a daily basis, work with this creative gift and heighten your clairsentience and clairaudience. And specifically for clairaudience, this could be listening to audiobooks or writing, having fun writing something. That's a very creative pursuit, and you can kind of take it in any direction you want, but ideally do it daily. Like sit down and set aside 10 minutes a day to write some fiction or something fun, or just to journal or something. It's like having fun doing something you enjoy is going to help to heighten this gift. And especially with clairaudience, there can be a very good talent or skill for writing and channeling information, especially through fiction, like Tolkien and J.K. Rowling and all of these fantasy writers. They were channels too. They channeled the story through them. Diana Gabaldon, another one of my favorites, she wrote the Outcast series, which is now a show. And she even mentioned in an interview that she sees the story and then she writes it down. Like, she's experiencing it, she's watching it, she's interacting with it, and then she writes it down. So I'm seeing that that's really important for you, group number 3, because it's going to help you to, first of all, connect to that creative sensory experience of what you're perceiving, and then channeling that out in a creative and fun way. 8 of Wands. Taking action is so important for you, group number 3. Like, it's so crazy how important it is for you to channel this energy into something creative. If you're sitting around not doing anything with it, that's going to create blockages, and that's going to prevent you from expanding this gift. The Empress. You have to create. You need to find a hobby or incorporate this into your work in some way, or what it is that you do. You need to create, group number 3. It is a necessity, not only for expanding this gift, but also for really channeling vital force energy through you. It's like, it's good for your health because when you work with your dominant clairs in a functional way, you are channeling a lot more vital force energy, which is the energy in our bodies that keeps us young and healthy and alive, right? When the vital force energy leaves the body, that's when we start to experience dis-ease or illnesses or impairments and things like that. And even to the extreme extent, death. When the soul fully leaves the body, the vital force energy is gone. So you need to experience the vitality within you, and to work with this gift functionally, you need to create. You need to write, you need to sing, you need to dance, you need to make things with your hands, you need to feel and touch and experience the joy of play. It's very childlike, it's very sensory, like finger painting and coloring. Yeah, I'm just seeing you being very creative, and that's going to help this psychic gift to channel through you. I do see another tertiary clairvoyance. I do see that. The Venus sign on the cat's forehead just all of a sudden caught my eye. And then the next second, I was drawn to the star on the forehead of the Ace of Pentacles cat. So you guys are also clairvoyant, which is why I think the Diana Gabaldon reference was really accurate for you, because you can see, you can feel, and you can receive this information auditorily and through scripting. So that's why I think doing some creative writing would be really, really helpful for you in working with this gift functionally. The Fool card, and have fun with it. The Fool is this very light-hearted, optimistic, childlike energy at the beginning of an adventure, and just really looking forward to the excitement and the anticipation of going on a journey where you're going to try new things. Maybe traveling would be helpful. I just got that message. Yeah, traveling, experiencing new sensory environments, different climates, different people, different cultures, different foods. That's really going to help to stimulate this. And I think it'll give you a lot of inspiration that you could maybe even turn into a book or a story. It's very eat, pray, love, connecting to the sensory experience of the food, the sensory experience of fun and dance, and maybe even sexuality. It's like being able to explore your sensory environment and experience within, and then turn that into something creative visually or auditorily or written word. 6 of Wands, you're going to be very victorious at this. You're going to feel so much more confidence in yourself because you will actually be able to follow through on things, group 3. You will feel confident because not only are you enjoying the process, but you're actually getting results. You're actually seeing your goals come to fruition because you're not getting distracted, or you're not stopping halfway through or doing other things, or not kind of channeling that energy because you're battling against yourself. You're actually going to be fully on board because it's fun and you want to do it. So that doesn't mean shirking your responsibilities. It means finding a way to turn everything into a better or more enjoyable process for yourself. So what could I do in this situation to improve my experience of it? I don't like doing the dishes. How can I make this better? Well, make sure that water is the right temperature. Make sure you have a smelly soap that smells good. A smelly soap that smells good. Listening to music while you're doing it. These types of things. That's just a very small, finite example, but if you can do that in every area of your life, especially your creativity, that is going to be what launches you through the roof to victory. That's what I'm seeing. It's like you're breaking through all barriers that once confined you or constricted you, because they were all internal, group number 3. That's the thing. They were all internal, and you're meant to be free to explore and express. That is your highest divine embodiment, is what they just told me. You are here to be free and express. And a lot of that is going to be through joy of the experience, exploration through curiosity, and implementation and follow through by enjoying the process of creating. Whew. Yeah, we're like, wow. Okay. The sun, you guys, this is... my God, this is so crazy. The Sun card is the joy of that innocent, childlike, creative expression. And it's also about play and fun and healing. I think that you have a very strong ability to create, and what you create is very healing, not just for other people, but for you. It's like the act of creating. Like I said, they keep showing me it moves vital force energy through your body and it heals you. So the more you create, the healthier you get, the more vibrant you become. It's like people are going to be like, you're glowing. What are you doing different? I'm creating. That's you, group 3. I'm creating. I'm making stuff and I'm feeling good about it. Allowing yourself to play and not necessarily focusing so much on the outcome, but on the process of what you're doing. It's the journey for you, group number 3, and maybe quite literally, because I do feel like going on trips would be helpful. Because like I said, it puts you in new environments, it stimulates you, it gives you lots of input. That's that mercurial energy I was getting. It is concerned with short distance travel. And the butterfly too. The butterfly, 10 of Swords on the bottom. It's really about letting the fear and the conflict die so that you can feel safe to move forward. I do feel this card as well, 3 of Cups. And having a good time with other people, celebrating, having fun. I feel like that is a major theme for you. But yeah, the mercurial energy of the butterfly. Oh yeah, you did have play and children and confidence and creativity. The 5th house, yeah, that's very the sun, very Fool. 10 of Cups, yeah, it's just so, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. So being able to travel, because butterflies are migratory too. They migrate actually really far, monarch butterflies. They go from, I know they're in Canada because I've seen them here in Canada. I think they either go from Canada down to South America or to the Amazon. I can't remember which one. I think it's down to South America, like to Brazil. This is a long way to go, going from North America to South America. So this is very much about kind of pursuing your heart's desire, is what Spirit just said. Pursuing your heart's desire, letting yourself be free to explore, but doing so in a way where you're not constantly battling against yourself because you feel like you're not doing what you need to be doing. Because what you actually need to be doing, group number 3, is just enjoying yourself and creating and channeling through that creativity. Yeah. So some of that will be about focusing. Sure. Fine. But what's really going to hold your focus is what you enjoy doing. You know, like it's hard to read a book that you don't want to read because you're not interested in it. It's really hard to maintain your focus, but I bet you anything you're the type of person that if it is a book that's extremely engaging and fun and sparks your creative mind, you could probably read that for like 5 hours straight. So focus isn't the issue. Follow through isn't the issue. The issue is, are you enjoying what you're doing? And I'm telling you, that is what's going to help you to work with your clairs. The clairsentience, the clairvoyance, and the clairaudience. That is what's going to help you, because you're going to be able to channel that functionally, and it's going to help you heal, and it's going to feel fun while you're doing it. So it's a win-win situation. Like, it's healing you, you're creating awesome things, you're having a great experience. What more could you want, you know? Like, that is just amazing. It's epic. It feels very epic to me. And there's going to be victory there. Confidence in your creativity. Like, you are an artist, group number 3. There is no denying that. And if you have not accepted that about yourself, I want you to take a good hard look at what you are passionate about and what you feel drawn to, and maybe where you can still learn to develop. Because just because you don't know how to do something doesn't mean you aren't naturally gifted or talented at it. Like, every great writer had to start somewhere, right? You know, every great writer got their first draft rejected. Every great writer isn't great at grammar or punctuation or whatever. You know, every great painter didn't start out being a great painter. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes discipline. That's where I think this battle has been. But if you, like I said, if you just enjoy what you're doing, like if you love going to art class and you want to do it just because you want to do it, you'll become a master at it because you will put in the hours. What is it, like 10,000 hours to be an expert at something? That's such an arbitrary thing, right? Like such an arbitrary thing. But I think that it kind of applies here in the sense that you will become a master at this, number one, because you have a propensity for it, but mostly because you're passionate about it. And the more passionate you are, the more time you're going to put in. Because it's going to feel like play. It's not going to feel like work. That's how you become a master. And you are. You're becoming a master, group 3. So create, go forth and create. I almost felt like the Wicked Witch there, like, fly, my pretties, fly. I feel fantasy energy from you guys, playfulness. So I just heard Roald Dahl in my head. He's a writer. Yeah, he wrote The Big Friendly Giant, The Witches, a whole bunch of very prolific writer and artist. So I keep getting this energy of like fantasy writing. If you guys are interested in that, definitely pursue it. If that's not literally for you, then it's just a metaphor for embracing that creative childlike play in a creative fashion. Okay, so that is what I see for you, group number 3. Your psychic abilities are clairsentience, clairvoyance, and clairaudience. Not necessarily in that order, but those are the 3 that you want to work with the most. And it's going to be through joy and play and creativity that you can do that most effectively. Okay, so I hope that this reading was helpful. That's my highest intention. And if you guys need additional support in activating your clairs, working with the energy, being creative in this way, I am a spiritual mentor, Reiki master healer, and of course intuitive reader. So if you need any help or services from me, you can find my information through the link to my website, which is in the description box below. I love you guys, and we'll see you in the next reading. Bye.